last game. You have to make that up some way, shape, or form. And if these guys don't go down, if we don't see kind of that classic patented mongrel over-aggression where he kind of overreaches a little bit in the early and the mid-game, and they keep getting their Storm Surge tags, I think, again, it's going to turn into a race for second.
I mean, the biggest fear as well is if somebody or some trio just decided to do 50-50s and try to drop into Starks. It happened before. They did lose their spot early in qualifiers when Jaspy's trio, who is in the grand finals, mind you, kind of contested. They kind of started to lose it, but I think that woke up MMT. That woke up this trio to let them know, look, we're going to have to understand that someone will contest us at some point. And they just obliterated Jaspy's trio in that next day in that tournament. So that is what we're kind of watching here. It's like, will it happen? Could it happen? We already seen OCE. The Lynx trio slip from that first place, going all the way down to 7th place or so. It could happen, but so far, I don't taste it in the air. I only smell grand final champion here.
And that would be such a key kind of feather in these guys' caps. We talked about them being some of the strongest and best players in the world, and right now trying to put that on display, utilizing, again, we've talked about this as well, the first shot accuracy from the Stark Industry Rifle and the high base damage of it, the fact that it still hits for 35 even at maximum range, and being able to convert on those 50 plus damage headshots, make it one of the strongest weapons. And particularly, I mean, everybody has seen the clip of Mongrel on the high ground with an infantry rifle. This is about the same. And you'll also notice too, they'll generally run in terms of the rifle choice. They'll have a burst rifle on Mitro, and then Tayson and Mongrel will pick up those Stark Industry rifles. That way, when you're spraying a wall, you have the fast first shot accuracy from the Stark rifles, and then the 2-shot burst coming through on the burst AR. It gives them a bunch of pressure to hit trios behind their builds.
We saw that stat of Indretta, Sapphic, and Mongrel having 15 plus elims, so they are slaying out. But what a metaphor. You see Mongrel's trio all decked out, swagged out, and whiplashes, and then you see everybody else in the back of the pack trying to catch up in the coop. That's the kind of race that we're talking about. Can the turtle catch the hare? And this hare has an extreme crazy start, and they're not going to be lazy like that story hare. They're not going to take a break. They're not going to eat. They're going to keep running at full speed. They're going to take their whiplashes and cross the finish line. The question is, can the people in the coops and the trucks, any kind of Fortnite vehicle, man, I'm going to take it all the way back to the board days and maybe the shopping cart days, who's going to catch up to that Whiplash trio? I don't know who that's going to be.
Yeah, you can see those Mark 51s being so fast on rotation, but I will say the one thing that could end up potentially being a little bit of a stumbling block for the trio would be if they end up struggling with Storm Surge today. We've already seen in the first 2 games, that first Storm Surge has been massive in a completely uncontested drop spot. If they aren't able to kind of get enough tags to get over the top, that could force them into kind of one of those classic mongrel over-aggressive situations.
Right.
As long as they avoid that, I think they'll be okay. Right? I think that if they've done enough so far where they have the playmaking ability over the course of these 6 games, that they're going to have at least 1 or 2 more solid games in that instance. As long as they don't have 1 or 2 absolutely ruinous games by Storm Surge, this should be good enough for them. But right now, we're going to hop on board with the pressure coming from iDrop straight into the box. Downs gets picked up there. No problem from iDrop 7. However, Sturstinks is going to eat a little bit of a problem there. He gets caught in a separate box, and all of a sudden, the 2v2 on the mark, you can see iDrop trying to push forward. They're going to try and get a little bit of a disengage, make sure they can get shields up, but a little bit of a slip up there from what is normally a very strong box-to-box trio.
That was like an extreme push. I've never seen the 1, 2, 3 go, and everybody just box dive in with the AR spray and getting right inside as a trio. And then what ended up happening is they ran into that edit with the triangle edit, and one got caught, got hit right in the shins. You mentioned this in the EU side of things. You got to wear your shin guards, man. Oh.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you'll get a warning there in the form of one of your players dropping down, but the retaliation not going to result in anybody else being sent off. You can see Nems and Wave Doko rotating through the river, using that downstream current to try and get a little bit of speed. But iDrop being aware of that as well, getting good pressure onto him here. And actually looks like they're trying to kind of pick this fight 2v3. You see Storm Surge is ticking on. 20 players going to be impacted by that here in 1 minute and 45 seconds. iDrop trying to force his way into the box, but plenty of angles and pressure coming out from the other side. Super limited amount of materials here, down to only 17 builds. You can see that under his one elimination here as we wait for it to catch up, and you can see good pressure coming out from Nems. He is down the shield advantage, but he has his teammate providing some rifle support on both the angles that you can see. Taganza and Joko just laying down shots for him. A little bit of spread out, though, if they are able to force in and get Nems situated. And they're going to use the harpoon gun straight in, and Nems is going to get picked off. A huge pickup there from iDrop and Vettel, but can they get out of the water?
You're just seeing how great this trio is, but I think what's really affecting them as we're seeing them to try to capitalize and close out this trio is that essentially that change in drop spot is really hurting them. Look at their power weapons. It's not there. They're really doing this with green weapons and not having that firepower. Yes, you could be the most extreme trio that's going to fight hip to hip, but when you're not as strong as Monster was like to say, a 1.5 player that's walking around with an epic shotgun or legendary shotgun, it's just going to be so difficult for you to close out these fights. It's a matter of stamina, and you don't have the necessary stamina considering that you're basically going into these engagements in shambles, and already iDrop 7 goes down. Surstix is already out, and Vettel is literally on the green HP as Storm is going to overwatch them, and there it is. They get cleaned up, Sundown, and this is the same interesting that I was talking about Thomas HD, the change in drop spot. This trio of Vettel landed in Misty Meadows during their heats. Thomas HD landed in Dirty Docks. They made the switches, and they have yet to kind of find the right rotations out of those changes.
And we can see all the action going down as everyone trying to get above the Storm Surge special. But most important to the leaderboard there, we saw Andalex and Co. ended up having at least 2 of their players fall. So going to be forced into a 1v3 situation unless they can stick a revive. We're going to hop on board here. Nako's, Clement, and Floki sitting on 1 Elim courtesy of Nako's vertical shockwave coming out. Pops him up into the air, but not going to really find anything. Going to be able to utilize his hard mats, just kind of drop back down. You can see the Elim feed lighting up, and the only not seeing Mitro, Mongrel, and Tayson on the right side of that feed. In fact, we saw them on the left side of that feed getting a knock, and right now Vadil, Kylie, and Frostroki under pressure here from our top 4 French trio of Nakos, Floki, and Clement.
And Vadil was one of those trios that was so hot.
Can't let you go now. Can't let you go, can't let you go now. Can't let you go, can't let you go now.